Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. As the tables turn. That actually sounds like the title for a soap opera. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis was already catching heat over allegations she hired a boyfriend with no real criminal experience to handle a pretty complicated election interference case. And now newly unsealed court documents from boyfriend Nathan Wade's divorce case are generating even more questions. Did Fani Willis herself benefit financially from hiring boyfriend Nathan Wade? Are Wade and Willis cooperating, or are they obstructing? Fulton County commissioners may want to know where the money is going. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation may have questions. Family court lawyers and judges definitely have questions. Congress says they have a few too. But even if these allegations are true, does it impact state of Georgia versus Donald J. Trump? And if so, how? Joining us now to unpack the law versus the politics is former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky. Andrew, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I like hearing from people who actually did it for a living. You still a lawyer, good litigator, relevance. That's what I'm wondering. Are these allegations against Wade or Willis relevant in Donald Trump's criminal trial?
Well, good to be with you, Trey. I'm not sure if this is more soap opera or like John Grisham legal thriller, because the cards seem to be falling for Fani Willis. I do think that this is something that will affect the Trump case. You see, what is going on here is essentially kickbacks. Fani Willis bringing in somebody unqualified for the job, and it seems as though he's giving her these elaborate trips, these elaborate vacations. That's something that we know as honest services fraud. So I think that is something that needs a very deep investigation. But even more concerning now is these reports that we hear that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade were taking meetings at the White House. And what I really want to know about those meetings is whether there was an improper purpose. Were they trying to set the timing up so that it would interfere with the 2024 election? All of these questions need very serious answers, I think, well before we get to any potential trial against Donald Trump.
All right, let me ask you a hypothetical, because that's what lawyers like to do to one another. If Willis and Wade were both booted off of this case for any of the reasons you cited, a new prosecutor could very well go forward, I think. You tell me if I'm wrong. In fact, if they get rid of Wade, they might actually go hire someone who knows his or her way around a criminal courtroom. So I can envision a scenario where you still have the indictment, you just have a better prosecutor prosecuting it.
Well, I think when you look at the issue of prosecutorial misconduct, you have to look at, even if you can establish prosecutorial misconduct, then what does the court do about that? Oftentimes we see that there are low-level remedies, whether it's something in the discovery process, perhaps more liberal access to documents that the defense wouldn't otherwise have access to. The next level is taking off certain individuals from a case, so finding that there was some sort of personal issue. But in this case, where it goes all the way back to the grand jury time, I think even if the judge were to find prosecutorial misconduct, get rid of Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, essentially it's setting back the time all the way to the beginning. So any prosecutor who would come into this case at this point, I think, would have a tremendous hill to climb in trying to reverse time and trying to get back to kind of square one. And when we look at how deeply political this prosecution is, it does strike me as something that ordinary prosecutors, really good prosecutors, would hesitate to undertake, because if they don't have a platform to run on like Fani Willis does, it really is something that could have a very negative it could come back very negative on them if they were to blow the case themselves and lose it in the end.
What should we be watching for? You have a trained legal eye. You've got family court matters. You got folks fighting about who gets deposed and in what order. What should people who want to be paying attention to the right thing be looking for over the next weeks and months?
I think what's most interesting is trying to figure out what was going on between the White House and Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. Those conversations are key in my mind because Joe Biden has claimed all along that he's not been involved in the prosecutions of Donald Trump, that he's tried to keep a distance from that. But if there's direction coming from the top in order to essentially manipulate this prosecution to be something that benefits Joe Biden or the Democrats in the 2024 election, then to me it feels very much like what they're complaining about Donald Trump doing back in 2020. We can't be in a nation where we are using the DOJ or using our legal systems to interfere with the actual the voting and democratic process in our country. We need fairness, and we need to have assurance that the courts will ultimately allow the political process to work independent of aggressive prosecutors that are scattered throughout the nation.
Counselor, we love hearing you talk as you break down the issues. As someone who has experience would, I have a sneaking suspicion this will not be the last time you and I are talking about criminal matters in 2024. But I sure enjoyed the first time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.